minus 4 minutes. T minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah, look, black and blue lines. Yeah. Hey, that's a new vibe. Yeah. Hey, black and blue lines. Yeah. Hey, that's a new vibe. Yeah. Hey, park catalyst. I think we got a hit. Yeah. Hey, black and blue lines. Yeah. Look, we got Prince Blue and Steppe talking black and blue lives. Yeah. The black and blue lives. Yeah. It's Steppe and blue.
What is going on, everybody? What is up? It is the Black and Blue Lives podcast. It is me, Dr. Prince Blue, and my homie, Sergeant Step, Jonathan Step here. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. What up, Step?
What's up, dude? Hey, we got a on time start today, right at
I
8 o'clock.
know, right? No CP
See,
time. And you
see,
know
you're.
what CP time
I'm,
is, right?
I'm,
You've been around
I'm,
enough of us.
I'm glad I called to wake you up.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you everybody for joining in. We got a really good show for you. It's action packed. I want to start off by reading this little thing that I came up with here, but it's just a little something just to let you know what kind of show we're going to talk about today, because before we were cops, we were people, and somewhere between roll call and retirement, we lost some things. Me and Steph are going to talk about those things that we lost. We're going to talk about what the uniform gave us, and we're going to talk about what the uniform took from us today. And Steph, you and I, we've been on this journey for a while now. We're retired. We're both medically retired, and police work takes a lot out of you. Trust me. Again, no better job on the planet when you're clicking and you're making arrests, and you're doing things, and you're saving people, and you're being Batman and Spider-Man. Pick a superhero. It feels great. But what 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 happens a lot of times is the times when that adrenaline isn't flowing and you're not in that uniform. um there's a lot of stuff you're losing also while you're in that uniform. So we're going to talk about that. And in our first segment, we're going to talk about, time that you and we will never get back. And I want to just ask you this step. um can you give me, or give the audience, something that you feel like you will never get back sometime, whether it be a gathering, whether it be a game, or something that sticks with you, far as something that you won't get back because you were doing the job?
Well, just in general, I mean, I think today's my son's 21st birthday, and I can think about, he's in Italy right now, living it up. But I can think about all the birthdays and Christmases and special days that I've missed with, watching my son grow. Uh, I mean, that's kind of not one specific event, but you know, trips to Europe. I missed a couple of those. To Mexico, to place. I mean, you give up your entire life basically uh, for the job,
Yeah.
and
No,
you
go
do.
ahead.
Yeah, no, and just I think you can make up vacations, you can make up stuff, but you can't. You know, I only have one kid, and I can't get that time back that I missed. So that's probably the most important thing that I missed.
What I remember vividly is the Thanksgivings where me and the family would have to come here because I had to work. So they will all come here and get hotel rooms. We would have as many as we can stay with us. And I remember where I would literally eat, and then I would have to go upstairs and go to sleep because I had to go to work. And
Yeah,
so they would see me like eating, and then the next time the whole family would see me is I'm getting on uniform. I'm getting a uniform. I'm in uniform and I'm about to go to work. All the Black Fridays I had to work because we were short staffed. All the some of the things that we wanted to do, I couldn't, because whenever I requested off, we were short. And depending on where you are in seniority, this step as a sergeant, you got to make those hard decisions where you got to tell a person, hey, unless you can find somebody to cover for you, I can't give you those days.
yeah,
And it's tough, man. It really is tough when you're staring at your kids, and then you see them grow 6 inches, and you see them like they hit the spurt, and you're like, where was I during that? Like, how did I miss that?
yeah, and two, you put it, you do it for country, but but you do it for your guys. You don't want to, it's not that. hey, I'm patriotic. I want to work my kid's birthday, or I want to work. I mean, just plan. You and people in the military and firefighters and him, they know, nurses. You don't get vacations off. I'm sorry, the holidays. So like I'm not used to having July 4th off because everybody had to work July 4th. I'm not used to having New Year's off.
Lolly Dolly, everybody. It took an act of Congress for you to get, what was it? July 4th, New Year's, and was Christmas one of them?
No, Christmas was a little more lenient, but we had major events like NCAA or not
NAACP. What was it?
Yeah,
CIAA.
You take the two and combine them, you get
CIAA. I was about to say NAACP. I was like, what? No. But yeah, we had those. And I think, remember, if you wanted New Year's off, you had to take like what, 40 hours or something like that. It was crazy.
A lot of times you had to get you had to have like a pre-approved at least a week's vacation. And even then, I mean, how many times like, oh, vacation's canceled. You know, and they call you, but you know what? I mean, I wouldn't do that to my dudes. I'd be like, hey, don't answer your phone. If you don't, you
asleep, turn it off, put it on do not disturb. Don't.
Yeah. And the thing is, you want but then you don't want to be the dudes missing out. Sometimes missing because you feel like if something happens or officer gets hurt, you feel responsible. But if something cool happened, it seemed like they were always a cool, badass car chase when I was off.
What was wrong with us? Like, we're literally off, and then we're seeing stuff. We're like, man, that was my shift.
Or you call it. You're really never off because your guys are communicating with you and vice versa. But I think we both know, and Lynn made a good point earlier about the military dudes. You were in the military. I don't have that perspective, but I don't know. I guess hopefully most of the time I get holidays off unless they're deployed or something. But
yeah, you get holidays off and you request time off like anything else. But think about it. Let's say you're requesting time off and you're in Iraq, or you're requesting time off and you're in some other country. Like,
oh yeah,
is it really off? Because you're away from your family, you're away from everybody. At least when we requested off, we were with family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with that first segment, the way this show is going to be formatted today is we're going to talk about something, and then we're going to do what everybody loves, how we watch a video, review it, and then we're going to get to the next step. So this one is going to be pretty hard to watch, but it's also going to be pretty satisfying because it's nothing like having good backup and good instincts on your side. Take a look. Where is it? What happened? Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. Take a look.
How you doing?
We good?
Good. Haven't seen you in a while. Still on probation?
911, ma'am.
Hold on.
What?
911, not discharged.
You just discharged?
No, 911.
Oh, 9 more months.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have you step out of the vehicle.
Okay.
You don't have anything on you, right? You're good.
Oh, no. Officer, need help, shot fired. Need help, shot fired. Noble, South of Plummer. Are you okay?
All units, officer needs help. Noble, south of Plummer.
Where'd you get hit?
In my left leg.
Okay. You gonna be okay?
Got a different angle. What the officer was seeing right here. That's what the partner was seeing. That last shot, I loved it. Love it.
You're good.
And now this is what she saw. All right, Step. What did you see in that video?
One, it's something that we could 20 times a shift we're doing. I did see that video, maybe even earlier today, but I don't know the context. I didn't read the comments. But it never take a traffic stop for granted. That's why I always tell first, always assume the person's going to try to kill you. Not like I said, that's like going to calls and that's not having your gun out at every traffic. It's just in your hat. Admittedly, be prepared for something. And we see it a lot now. We both had it happen. Somebody, they're acting like hey, I'm going to comply, right? So this guy's being cool. His demeanor seems cool. I don't know what kind of initial stop it was. It was just like a routine stop, but you get him out of the car and he's being compliant. She probably lets you guard a little, and then that right hand drops, and that's how quick it takes. And so that guy was pretty ballsy because there was thank God it was a secondary officer on
Yes.
that vehicle. That's how to do a 2-man. If you don't do them, you got to practice 2-man stops. One person goes back to run stuff, the other guy stays at BS. Both don't come back. But anyway, that's a good thing where that's a 2-man car is important to have. I don't know I don't know if that female it's kind of hard to do because people not take away from people that get shot, but and I don't know if she did. I'm not saying it didn't appear in the video I watched earlier too that she got her gun out.
She did.
So you got to remember, you got to be mentally prepared. I remember thinking I got shot. I was like, fuck, I'm hit, but I'm still alive. Keep fighting. That's when I went down. I was like, God damn, I'm hit. But you got to. You're not out of the game, man. Until you're out of the game. Yes, she's hitting the leg. It's traumatic. When my partner was shot beside me, he had his gun out. He stayed in the game. He got shot in the chest and he thought he was dying. But you have to be mentally prepared because if that secondary officer wasn't there, she would be dead. No doubt about it.
No doubt. And the one thing I did notice that bothered me was when he started complying and he was saying I was getting out, she let her guard down a little bit and then she stood directly in front of him. Like she was like right in front of him. And I know you've trained us on many traffic stops. Never get in front of them. Never get in their line of sight. Never get to where they could grab you. She wasn't bladed.
You need
nothing.
to be bladed. And you need a reactionary gap. So like if somebody's getting on the car, depending, if I smell dope or had a PC stop or we're gonna do a Terry frisk, as soon as they got out, I was right on top of them on the car and I'm searching them. If you're getting somebody to come out to talk to them, maybe try to build your PC or get them out of the car, you can let them out. The door's open, the door, and you want to create some distance, right? Like you said, per bladed. So remember, most 95% of the population are right-handed. Most of the time, that threat's going to come from that right hand. So you get compliance, and then the hand drops. Compliant. That's how fast it takes. So you can't let your guard down, and it's easy to do. But yeah. So that's a scary video because we've been there sometimes as a run, they push and run, but you cannot assume that if someone's cooperative, they're not going to try to kill you. Yeah. I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and shout out to her partner who did what he had to do. That last shot was epic.
Yeah, and he came, he closed it. He knew she was on that side. He didn't know if the guy was hit, but he came around, popped that round. He probably felt confident enough that was a good hit, and instead of he didn't run off and get cover and leave her there. He did exactly what we're trying to do.
And this is going to lead into our second segment in a little bit. But what an absolute piece of shit! Like I don't know what he had going on or why he felt like it was that night that he wanted to kill an officer or take an officer out for. Again, we don't know the context of why she was taking him out, but even if you was, congratulations, whatever you was going to jail for, it's now about to be triple. But guess what? I didn't get any press clippings. I don't even know if the guy survived or not. If he didn't, good. You're not going to get me to feel sorry for the piece of shit, but that's just to show you how quickly things can change and how. And she's obviously dealt with them before because she was asking them questions that only a person that was dealing with would know. And then that's what happened. So
And in context, that's the only thing I did see is that she was familiar with them and it was saying, "Don't let your guard down because you know somebody." You know, a lot of times, like you and I would we'd work most of the time in the same area, right? So, uh, a district usually have 3 response areas, and each officer is assigned to those response areas. And most of the time, if you want to, you move around a little bit, but you're usually assigned to the pretty consistent same response area. So you're going to see people that you deal with all the time. Like we Blue and I have talked about on many occasions, people that we knew by name and for not good reasons, not because they were police supporters, but you learn people in your area. So the guy could have had a history or he could have had a warrant, but it's not uncommon. But don't assume that he didn't try to kill you last time you had contact with him. Things change. That's a very good training video, man. I'm glad you showed that one.
yeah, that could have been all time bad. But we'll be back after this first message. Real quick, this is a very good question by Kansas Sunflower. Do you think he would have been less likely to try it with the male cop? And I gotta be honest, I absolutely do. I don't think he would have tried that with the male cop because and he got the result he wanted when he was being nice to her, and then he said he was gonna get out, and then she dropped her guard, and he tried. What was weird was with the gun, he tried to take her over physically when he had the gun, he had the advantage, and he tried to take over. He tried to take her over physically first, and then he realized, he remembered, oh yeah, I have the gun. Let me fire off a couple rounds. But that was his undoing. But Step, what do you think?
No, there's a lot of FBI studies saying that people that attack or kill police wouldn't have done it if they knew 2 people on a traffic stop for this incident or call. Usually, is like 90% plus percent. If you have a 2-person there to someone trying to hurt you, yeah, it is hit or miss, man. You see male cops dying, get same things happen to them. So I don't know. I know Pat made a comment. I think it was Pat said that he didn't see he might have not knew. A lot of people, how many times you on a trip?
There's no way he could have known that her backup was there because you just, like you said, you just don't try that when you got a 2-man.
No, but you think about it, he was focused on how many times you've been on the second mile traffic stop and you're standing at the window, passenger window, and they're like, "Oh shit!
Where'd you come from?"
they don't even know you're there. Connor Sheldon was on a traffic stop in I think it was Asher. Somebody was talking to the driver, and they didn't know they had the the driver's side coverage, and I think Ash couldn't see with the tinted windows of the angle, but the dude was pulling out a rifle, and Connor was right there on Central, and Connor, drew down, put his gun in his head, but I don't think the guy knew that the second officer was there. So it's a very good possibility. He didn't know. He could have maybe still tried it, but it's probably been less likely. And with a guy, it depends on most of the time. I've dealt with a lot of people, and they're like, "Hey, I could hear in your voice and see it in your eyes. You were not shooting me, or you're not playing games." So maybe that de-escalated some. So, but you talk to the bad guys, they're like, "Oh, I'll try him, but I'm not trying you." Or
presence definitely does matter.
So if you go in and you look, you got your shit together and got your uniform looks good, and you talk like you know what you're talking about, it reduces the risk a little bit, but it's not a
guarantee. Yeah. So in this next segment, we're going to talk about the personality shift in the uniform, and some people are who they are in and out of the uniform, and some people say that the uniform changed them and they had a personality shift. I think becoming a police officer definitely has made me more jaded. Definitely has showed me that people are not to be trusted more. That expect evil until people tell you otherwise. We've seen so much evil, whether it be ancestral rape in general, cold-blooded murder, people who steal from their parents, you name it, child abuse, you name it, we've seen it. And that leads us to, when we're looking at, for instance, like now when I see, I'm just going to use an example, when I see a guy who wants to quote unquote help young men and be nothing but around young men all the time and do that gives me pause, because I've seen where men have come into the life of underprivileged youth, of people who don't have anybody, and they take that an advantage and they do some despicable things to those young men. So naturally, when I see somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm part of this nonprofit where I take care underprivileged youth, male youth, and I show them a different way, and I'm like, why
Good to see
just
him.
why just males? Like, you're not married, you're single, like it just does something to me, and that's my personality, and that's something that has changed in me. And sometimes it gets in the way because I want to see people for face value, but I've seen so much evil while wearing that uniform. It's hard. Like, you have to prove to me that you're not a piece of shit before I can treat you as such.
No, absolutely. And think about it, like, you made a great point, is because there's, it realistically probably 99 out of 100 people who are doing it for the right reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if you ask a cop, what's the first thing comes in your mind when you hear priest? You're like, oh shit, like, or Cub Scout leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're like, oh yeah, they're, pedophiles or whatever. But because we see
Because we've
the only,
arrested them, we've
yeah,
seen them.
and people don't realize, like, the only time we come in contact with a priest, if we're doing a notification, or they're getting arrested for sexually abusing a child. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are and
Either
same
or.
thing with, yeah, or same thing with a Cub Scout leader. So like, so our experiences with those people, even though 99.9% of them are probably good, is that 0.01% that makes us so. If you go in the ocean the first time you get bit by a shark, you're done for the rest of your life. You're like, I'm
But
never going to the
you're not
ocean.
trusting any shark. I don't
Yeah,
care if they be
yeah,
like, "Oh, this shark is nice." And there's no such thing as a nice shark after you
yeah.
after you dealt with one. Yeah.
It gives you, like, yeah, and it's sad because you don't trust people. But in the, it has a lot of benefits. Learn how to read people, know when you're being lied to. Uh, but yeah, you don't want to trust people. And what happens, unfortunately, to most of the food that some nice young lady, male, anybody, a family brings in a thing of cookies and like, hey, we're from the neighborhood, we want to bring these cookies. Those things are probably not getting eaten. Like, did one of the traffic guys give her a ticket and she's trying to,
Yeah.
but if they go in the trash, most of,
It has
because
to
it's
be
like,
either covered. It has to be something like, remember, the people in the community, they was big on anything that was covered, like sodas, cookies, cakes,
yeah.
stuff that you open yourself. They knew not to bring us anything that they quote unquote baked or prepared themselves. So it was
Yeah.
crazy. And Step, think about this. When we go in a restaurant with our family, where do our wives automatically know we have to face when we're in a restaurant?
You got to watch the door, the most active spot.
It's just, we got to know how many exits, where are the exits, the guy that's coming in, like, is he looking around too much, does he have a problem, is he, these are all the things that we've learned as police officers, and we carry it to our wives. Sometimes we probably do get on their nerves. Like, I've turned down tables where they're like, this is the only table we have. Well, that's not going to work. Had to wait an extra 20 minutes because that table just is not
You'd
going
be
to
like,
work
I'm
for
Dr.
me.
Prince Blue. I'm going to sit where I
no,
tell you
no,
I'm going to sit.
no. I just tell them that table doesn't work for me. But
Yeah,
it's
no, you're
crazy
right.
how
Yeah.
your personality just shifts.
No, yeah, and you get cynical. They don't talk about being, cynical. Look, one of the best books you could read if you're, related to someone and want to know more about police psychology is Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. That's one of the best books, and it's like 150 pages. It's easy read, but it takes you from the very beginning of the academy. It shows you how you're going to change. It's just a great book. The doctor who wrote it was a police officer somewhere for a while, so he kind of gets the culture. Now he's a psychologist. But that's it. Really, you're not going to be the same person. You see these kids that graduate the academy and they're all smiling, clean uniform, like I can't wait to get there and help old ladies cross the street and do this stuff. And then
the last thing you're gonna be doing, buddy.
4 months later, you get a call. Miss Mary needs a thing across. You're like, that fucking bitch. You're like, you're yelling.
Why can't she cross herself across the street?
Yeah. So, but whatever you think it changes you. Most of it for survival, right? So we change because we see the worst of people. Everywhere we go, there's problems. There's just constantly problems. Yes. So it makes you cynical and it makes you not trust people, and it keeps us alive because it does what it needs to do. But as far as being part of a family and friend group,
social life,
that's why what happens is I tell all these people that when I get law enforcement, I said most of your friends a year from now will just be cops because they relate to you. Like I could be like, damn dude, I could be like, Prince, I had a stressful day. Like what happened? Man, this guy pulled a gun. I had to wrestle on the ground. He shot up in there. Like he got away. And then like, damn, that's legit. You could understand where. Vice versa, you got someone who's in the banking industry and stocks are down 1%. I lost $50. What? Not to take away from regular people, but it's a different level of stress. So when we hear their stressful day, our stressful day is like, I thought I was going to die, or somebody did die, or this stuff, and you're telling me
you lost a 401k that you're going to get back tomorrow. So
yeah. So it's all perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. So this next video is kind of an old one, but it also talks to a personality shift of when leadership goes up, and sometimes officers get fed up. And I think this officer had the ultimate, you know what, I'm sick of your shit moment, and he was applauded for it.
Disrespectful by being on your phone and not being attentive to them.
Well, I was on my phone, and yes, that's true. I was following developments with a 5-year-old little girl sitting on her dad's lap who just got shot in the head by a drive-by shooting. And if some of the people here gave a good goddamn about the victimization of people in this community by crime, I take some of their invective more seriously. The greatest racial disparity in the city of Milwaukee is getting shot and killed. Hello. 80% of my homicide victims every year are African American. 80% of our aggravated assault victims are African American. 80% of our shooting victims who survived their shooting are African American. Now, they know all about the last 3 people that have been killed by the Milwaukee Police Department over the course of the last several years. There's not one of them can name one of the last 3 homicide victims we've had in this city. Now, there's room for everybody to participate in fixing this police department, and I'm not pretending we're without sin. But this community's at risk, all right. And it's not because men and women in blue risk their lives protecting it. It's at risk because we have large numbers of high-capacity, quality firearms in the hands of remorseless criminals who don't care who they shoot. Now, I'm leaving here to go to that scene. And I take it personally, okay? We're going up there, and there's a bunch of cops processing a scene of a dead kid. And they're the ones that are going to be out there patrolling and stopping suspects, and they have guns under the front seat. They're the ones that are going to take the risks of their lives to try to clean this thing up. All right? We're responsible.
Well, that is what happened, ladies and gentlemen, when you continue to try to push narratives and you try to paint police as this rogue force that's going out here and trying to unalive black people and do all this. And that's what happens when you piss somebody off and they finally tell you about yourself. You are a community that is leading in homicides against each other. And you're concerned about me being on my phone at a crime scene. I am the chief of police. God forbid somebody needs to talk to me at a major crime scene. Because normally, guess what happens at a major crime scene? Guess who's calling you? The media, the mayor, the city council, all the people that have legit involvement and stake in this another homicide They want to know what's going on the same way that you want to know what's going on. But you tried to paint it as he didn't care because he was on his cell phone. And he told you about yourself. He said, guess what? You're at another crime scene of a black person killing another black person. You're not at the crime scene of an officer killing an unarmed black man or an armed black man. So pretty much in a lot of words, he told you to go to hell, shut the hell up, fix your own community before you try to demonize police. That's pretty much what he said. That's what I heard. That's how I interpreted it. I don't know. Step, how did you interpret it?
No, I think he's had enough, man. It sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Milwaukee's a pretty big department. So, I mean, you get fed up, Leah, and the media and these people, they want to make an issue of everything. They're like, to your point, they're mad because he's on his cell phone at a crime scene. What is he supposed to do? But I did like how the media they were kind of speechless, but I think it was a powerful message. I mean, it got to the point. It's like why is this officer rude to me, or I had just whatever. They don't know what we just put a kid in a body bag or did whatever, and then so unfortunately, what a big deal to you, someone maybe's backed into your mailbox is like and it took me 30 minutes to get here because I had to pick up a body and put it in a body, or something, and you're fussing at me because you're worried about and then you got it's ridiculous.
It is, and it's just awful, Step, because it's like we have to stop this thing to where narrative and agendas drive facts. Literally, like, notice nobody followed up with any leads on the young girl's killer. Nothing. That they was worried about a cell phone. Like, a little girl was just put in a body bag. Y'all worried about me being on my
blaming
phone.
the police, like
It was just
I'm glad you got a leader that wasn't scared to death of the media. Like with Chief of CMPD where we worked, he
would have found a way to pander to the media. That's for damn sure.
Put officers at risk because he thinks the outer carriers were, and then intentionally, like, they got the ones that they didn't like. They got more of the crappier ones that they didn't get, the ones that everybody tested and like. But yeah, I applaud that guy. It's tough.
So, no, go ahead.
We've done that sometimes, but I wish we could have done more. But sometimes, could you imagine maybe if I would have done that, they probably would have written me up. Write you up for rudeness or something to the media.
Conduct unbecoming. You talk to the media without permission. Some bullshit ass policy. We'll be back after this next message.
I know. You're probably wondering what's going on. Well, I'm here to tell you. It's me, Inked. And I need you guys to head on over to ajsrantroom.com and pick up your Trifecta merch. Yes, that's right. Trifecta merch is here. It is here for our Trifecta family to show their love and support and advertise for free. Well, not technically for free. You did pay for it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Head on over to ajsrantroom.com and pick up your Trifecta merch. We're all inclusive. If Prince can wear it, so can you. Have a good one.
All right. So the next one, Step, is what did the uniform do to our minds? This is where we get into the very foundation of why we started this podcast, and that was mental health. What didn't it do? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had awful nightmares. I can't tell you how many times I've thought about cases that have really stuck with me through the years. I've even Googled to see what happened to those victims and where they're at in life now. It's amazing what it does to you. For those who don't know, I suffer from bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, and PTSD. But And with all that going on, I still had a job to do. I mean, that is as simple as that. You either can sink or you could swim as a police officer, because guess what? I promise you, the only people that are going to really care for you is your family and is your brother and sister in blue, because they're going to be the ones that's going to be able to understand what you're going through, relate to you. They may not be able to like diagnose it, but they'll know something is going on. Like they'll know, hey, Blue, like, yeah, you ain't had a haircut in weeks. Hey, Blue, your numbers are down. Hey, Blue, you don't engage anymore. Hey, Blue, you're not making any jokes. Hey, Blue, you was kind of mean on that last call, because they know you. Like they know me. Like they know Prince is always making jokes. Blue will always making jokes, but he was kind of off kiltered on that one. Like, what's going on? I can't tell you how many times I've been pulled to the side and be like, hey, you good? Like, Step, like, I mean, it's your people know you. They know who you are. They know the reputation you have. So if you're out of character, they'll ask you, like, are you good?
No, 100%. And that's what we need to do. And sometimes it's kind of hard to do if you don't have that kind of relationship. But don't, you want to make sure your partner or somebody you work with or just your brother or sister in blue is mentally good, because this stuff just didn't happen overnight. It's sometimes a slow process, and I tell people all the time, you don't have to be involved in a shootout or shootouts and all this stuff. Cumulative PTSD is a real thing. I'm sure the statistics. What is it, like 50% of cops with over 5 years experience have some form of PTSD.
Correct.
And you try to ignore it because we're told, suck it up, man up, don't worry about it, don't think about it. And and we talked about 100 times what we do. We don't even think about it. We go to the next call, and then it just keep putting it away on a shelf. And eventually, it could be a year, it could be 3 years or 5 years. All that's become crumbling down. You have to deal with it, and it didn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're not a good cop. It means we're normal. Thank God that we see and experience the things that we do and did, and it fucked us up. If we did what we did and we didn't think about it and didn't have nightmares and have PTSD and stuff from it, it would tell a lot about who we are.
You don't want emotionally and mentally bankrupt police officers out there, and you have some out there. So think about that for a second. You have some officers out there that they don't care if they live or die.
Nope.
And if they don't care about themselves, guess what's going on in the community? They don't care if you live or die either. So when you're out here and you're trying to push cops to the edge and you're antagonizing cops, you know how people used to say, don't push people because you don't know, you may be the last thing that tips them over the edge. Now use that same analogy with somebody that has a gun, a taser, a baton, pepper spray, military training, martial arts training, whatever type of training you have. Oh yeah, and by the way, they can articulate it if they need to. We've had that too, y'all. We've had cops that they can articulate the shit out of everything. They can articulate whooping your ass. They can articulate putting bullets in you.
No, 100%, and it has happened. And like you said, our job is stressful. We've seen them, like some of the videos from last time, the police auditors and the Karens come in, just and make it so much harder. And you don't know what we're dealing with. You don't know what my family life's like at home. I could be right on the edge of just going postal, and hopefully, I'm not, but you don't know. I mean, we're human, and you push us so far that sometimes we can't help but react to. And it's very rarely happened, but it could happen, and it has happened.
And some of the things that push you over the edge, number one, is when you're just trying to do your job and people are making it difficult for no reason, like this dumbass did. Take a look.
Why are you in my car?
I'm just wondering if you can take me to the bar. I'm of age. I'm of age. I'm of age.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Ma'am, why would you think a patrol car door will be able to be unlocked from the inside? Okay. What college are you going to? Okay, let's keep playing.
Get out of it. No! Close the door. Both of you get over here now.
Both of you get over here right now. Give me your IDs. What in your mind would make you think that you should get into the back of a cop car?
I'm sorry.
Give me your ID now.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Give me your ID.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's a senior bar call. I didn't mean to.
What in your mind makes you think that you should get into a cop car?
Because we wanted to ride to the next bar.
Do I look like a taxi?
No, you don't. I'm sorry. I seriously, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead and hand me your purse.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and turn around and face the car. Put your hands up on the side of the car. I sure am. Put your hands up on the car.
You're getting a ride, okay, but not to the bar. People are stupid, man. Yeah, because I mean, technically, I'm thinking of the elements. She could be charged with being in a motor vehicle.
Again, you don't want officers out here that are emotionally bankrupt and mentally bankrupt being able to articulate you possibly with a felony. Like what are we doing? Like, can you imagine being her father and be like, baby, why are you in jail? I got in the back of a cop car for them to give us a ride to the bar. You would be like, what? You're not telling me the whole story. Like no way you thought that you could get in a police car and then get out.
And you never thought about, hey, son, don't ever get in the back of a police car asking for a bar ride or like a ride to the bar. Like, you don't even think about as a parent to tell your kid not to do that. It's just, but really, like, do I look like an Uber? You want me to take you to the bar?
Now, let's flip it. How many times have you and I been on a call and we're outside our car and we hear 1019, step it up, officer shot, officer down, officer fighting one, and we just jump right in our car? Mm-hmm. Are we expecting to have a college co-ed in the back of our car when we have to jump in it and go to an emergency call?
No. Yeah.
Imagine if you're going to a bank robbery or an emergency call and somebody is banging on the back of your car.
So no, I didn't think. So we put. I was a sergeant, so we had a good officer, but he was a little uptight. We put a blow up doll in the back of his patrol car and like kind of laid it in the seat, and we got him on BWC. Getting out, he was going to give a ride to a drunk dude that CFD was out with, and he opened the door to let the drunk guy, and CFD was sitting there to let the drunk guy inside the car to get around. The sex doll, the sex doll with a big mouth open was just laying back on the seat like that. It was hilarious. I wish I would have saved that video. That would have been worth having, but it just made me think of the. People be in the back. Yeah, but it's lucky. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, you could potentially get shot. If I look at my rearview mirror and somebody's back there and I can't see and it's dark. I mean, that's not a good, especially if you've been drinking, you kind of want to limit any contact with police, much less get in the back of the patrol car.
Step, hold on, because my mind is blank. What was ours for emergency?
1018.
1018. 1019 means we're there. Like we've arrived. 1023 we arrived. 1019 was what?
One we didn't ever use. I don't know.
Because remember
I
when
think it's
we
fill in the blank. You can just make it that one whatever you want because 1019 was.
let me see.
I don't know. That's 1019.
1019. 19.
I thought you knew a code. I didn't. I was like, damn, was that like a
no 10 20.
pick up and
Yeah.
get somebody a ride?
1019 was return to station.
Oh,
We never used that one because we never went
I got
back.
that one a lot. Step. Come on.
Get you go to conference. Get your ass to the office now. but yeah, that was completely dumb, and I bet you she will never forget that day because now you have a record. But knowing the way shit is going down, they probably
They probably let her go.
fired the officer for
she raised her voice. It's like they told me that my tone was too, people trying to kill me and I got them at gunpoint, telling them to drop guns and stuff, and my tone was too aggressive.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No.
Yeah. So we'll be back.
There's Ursula. So he's driving around with that in the back of his car, and he opens the door. I think that's from his buddy gift. He opens the door to give the drunk dude a ride. And the dude's like, that guy's like just kind of looking up at the office, like, who the hell's this? And CFD's rolling, and this sex doll's in the back of the patrol car.
That's why they told us to always check your back seat. Always inventory your car before you get in. People used to be like, yeah, you'd be amazed. We found what? Drugs, guns, knives, evidence, because the person before you has not checked their car.
I remember I had a take-home car, and I finally decided to check the seat when I was on patrol. And it's probably been like 6 months. I found, man, like knives and all kinds of dope. And I was like, what?
That's back when
there was stuff everywhere. I was like, I guess this is why I'm supposed to check the back seat.
Remember you could step on a crack pipe and be like, get out of here.
No, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I don't want to see you again. Now,
you could until you couldn't.
Till you could. That's right. So, Step, with all that being said, we've talked about all the horrors and everything that comes with wearing a uniform. My last question is for the next 7 or so minutes. Would you do it again?
You'd have to, man. It's, you hear people say it's the greatest show on earth. It's like, the best way to explain it is being in the movie industry and knowing how they make the movies and what's going to happen, and you feel like you're part of this whole production, right? So production of life, forget what, and then you feel like you're part of it, and then you're not in anymore, and you hear the siren or you got the helicopter going by, and like, shit, what's going on?
It's
like,
dopamine.
Now it's like watching it on TV. Like, I don't know what, before, you're behind the scenes and stuff. It's especially for people like me and you, I feel like it was a calling and something that I was called to do, and I'm glad I did it. And even though all the negative things that came from it, the mental health issues and rude relationships and not spend time with family, it made me who I am, and I think this is who I'm supposed to be. So you have to be mentally strong and just you see the worst of people, and one day at a time. And that's why it's important to talk to fellow officers or your spouse or somebody you confide in, because you can't do it alone. I mean, it drives you crazy. What about you?
I would do it again in a second. Like, without the police, there would be no me and you. There would be no me and Morris. There would be no me and Rangoon. There would be no me and Connor. There would be no me and Captain D. There would be no me and Major Anderson. There would be just the names
Just a
alone.
regular doctor. Just regular Dr. Prince.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been no me deciding, hey, if this goes to hell, like if I get hurt or get out, I have to be able to market myself. And that's when I got the email, hey, Stanley Community College is offering tuitions, discounted tuition for CMPD. Hey, I don't got nothing to do. I'll do some courses. Like it just everything. Say what you want about police with the bad, like the tentacles of all the good that came out of it. I would do it 100. I wouldn't have met my wife if it wasn't for police, because I moved to Charlotte, and the one thing that Charlotte told me was when I was on a dating app and I said I wanted to find somebody, I said I will not date anybody that lives in Charlotte. So I expanded it to South Carolina, and that's how I met my wife.
It worked.
So it worked. I told myself I would never date anybody at the department. It worked. So I'm just good to go, man. Like police work is like, it's one of the most admirable things, like next to teaching, that you can do, because you go in it knowing I'm not going to get rich. It's going to be a thankless job a lot of times. I'm going to get blamed for a lot of stuff that isn't my fault. But if I can just save one person or make an impact on one person, it's worth all the shrapnel that I get. And that's the type of mental fortitude, like you were saying, you have to have as a police officer. You have to know that.
Yeah, because you don't do it,
right.
You don't do it for you. You do it, you get in there and it, you think about like, and it'd be like being in the middle of a combat deployment and not it being taken out of your platoon and sent home. Like that's just probably the worst thing you do to a grunt, right? Same thing with us. Like, it's, some of it's about adrenaline, excitement. A lot of cops have ADHD or ADHD or HIV. I don't know. What are the things? But
a lot of cops have HDMI.
Yeah. But it's a great job with someone. It makes you, it makes you get, because you have to, can't focus too long on one thing. You got to do all this stuff. So a lot of cops have ADHD and stuff. So it's good and bad. If it was for the admin, if some of these leaders like they have in Florida, some of the ICE leaders now taking up, if you had leaders taking up for what you're supposed to do, it would have been so much better. But yeah, I mean, we made an impact. You can't go out there for a day or two and not impact someone's life.
Yeah.
Maybe you saved them from getting killed. How many people do we lock up for DV that maybe if we didn't lock them up and they didn't call, they would end up killing them, and it's because we were there and knew what to do and could articulate the elements or whatever. So we hopefully one day we'll find out. Maybe we'll go to wherever we go and see what a difference we made.
And we both have experience with people have run into us and they be like, hey, remember that night? Yeah, you turned my life around. After that night, I never went back. I never got in trouble again. Officer Blue, my son is doing better now since you talked to him. Officer Blue, my son is doing better since you came and talked to him about doing drugs, or you go talk at a school. All the things that you do, or just sitting down eating a meal and then you go to get the check and the waitress is like, somebody took care of that for you.
Yeah,
but they said don't tell them. They said I can't tell you who, and you're like, oh man, it trust me, it's the best job in the world, and you and I both would do it 100 times out of 100 times again.
Yeah, that's who we were. That's so that's hard, but mental health wise is you have it, and February 1st when I retired, I'm like, shit, I'm no longer a cop. Mm-hmm. That's been my identity. I've got an ID that says retired, which is great. It gave me a sense of completion instead of just quitting.
That card is great, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. So, but then it's like, shit, the And you catch
What I'm gonna
yourself-
do now? 40 hours of my
catch
week
yourself-
is gone.
You're still reading tags like, oh, that car is dirty, or that look at that tag, and like, oh, what am I
Lincoln
doing?
Paul Lincoln 2435.
I mean, like that's not who I am anymore. So it takes an adjustment, like getting out somebody that's a career in the military and having that structure to get out, and you're just in the theater watching the movie now behind the scenes. And it's depressing, right? Because you're not getting that friend camaraderie. We know, there's people we probably hadn't talked to since we retired, but we know if we picked up the phone now and called them.
Oh yeah, and let me tell you something. This is the one thing that I've learned since I've been retired. You don't talk to your homies every day. Like Morris is my brother. I consider my brother. I don't talk to him every day. But when I do talk to him, like we drop everything that we need to do and we talk, and it's like we never picked up, because I understand what that life does. It's like you got to focus on that. And I'm at home, staying at home, working on other things, and you're doing that. So I say all that to say this: police officers, don't take it personal if your friends that were on the force is not talking to you as much today. Of course they're not, because you're not with them every day like you used to be.
And that's a huge thing that all these officers I talk to that reach out to me, a majority of them deal with. I don't hear from, so-and-so is my good buddy. Like, I was good friends with, say, Ash when I was on street crimes in Eastway. I consider him, a really good friend. I hardly ever talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if he texts me, I immediately, or calls, I'll respond, and vice versa. We're busy. We're out of sight, out of mind. And so the biggest thing I can tell the people who retire out of the profession is they still know who you are. And I've done it. We both, I've been guilty. Somebody retires, like, damn, dude, I need to call him. We heard, you talk, hey, have you heard from so-and-so? No. Oh shit. Well, we did get up with him. Yeah. And then you never do. Right. So
you never do.
But I'm guilty of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that I didn't have an effect that people were like, hey, I thought Steppe was my friend. Like, I hadn't heard from him. It's like, man, you call me and you need me, I'm there. It's just out of sight, out of mind. And I've been guilty of it. And now I had to make myself understand that some of the people I really cared about that I don't hear from on a normal basis, that they're tied up with life. They're still behind the scenes in the production, making the movie, dealing with acting and stuff. So I've got the luxury of not being busy and being available 24/7. They don't.
Absolutely. So that's it. I appreciate everybody for listening. Again, Black and Blue Lives. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. I am Real Prince Blue across all social media platforms. He is Steppe. On Instagram, he's Steppe2223, and on TikTok, he's TOG4280. We will see y'all next week. Next week, we have a special guest. We have Maria Sussman. She's a former CMPD officer. My partner went through the academy with me, and now she's an attorney. She's a high-powered, very successful immigration attorney, which that's what's going on right now in the streets. Right now, that's a very hot topic issue. So she's going to come through. She's going to talk to us about, what some of the things in the big, beautiful bill means for immigration, illegally and legal migrants, all that and more. So next week's going to be a very, very, very important episode. I hope y'all come through for that.
One thing, go to police activity on YouTube. Is where all these videos are, these police videos, and they have the best library of most. Anytime a BWC or police video gets released, it gets put on there, and it gives you the backstory and everything. So go check out that website. Just be ready. I can only look at it once every couple of months because I binge watch all of them. I'll be in for an hour and a half watching police videos and getting all red faced and throwing on my helmet and my vest, so yelling at the screen. So but that's a great
back
place.
Out there. Yeah.
Can't wait till next week.
Yeah.
Good show.
So with that being said, please make sure you check on your peoples, everybody doing well. And again, if you have any issues or anything that you want to talk about, just reach out to me and Steppe. We will definitely respect it. We appreciate everybody. We will see y'all next week. Be safe, be well. Peace out.
Yeah. Look, Black and Blue Lives. Yeah. Hey, that's a new vibe. Hey, black and blue line. Hey, that's a new vibe. Hey, park catalyst. I think we got a hit. Hey, black and blue lives.